And hello, South Florida. Welcome to our TGIF edition of the Real Estate Show. South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running daily radio show about real estate. And my name is Eric Willner. I am your host. We are here live Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, live at 5 o'clock, coming at you 5 different ways. So how do we come? We come here on your AM station, 1470. We come here on your FM station, 95.3, 96.9, 106.9. We come here on a streaming service, the iHeartRadio, the TuneIn, the Spreaker. These are just some of the streaming channels that we're fond of. Then there is our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. In fact, particularly pay attention to automaticlandlord.com because not only do we stream our show here live at 5 days a week from these 5 different ways, we also archive all of our shows there. Where our library goes back over a decade in terms of how many shows we have, just about every topic that you could possibly imagine that we cover here on the Real Estate Show. And number 5, we also not only stream this over audio, over the airwaves, the internet, but we also have it on Facebook Live. So you can actually watch this show as we broadcast it each day live, a brand new edition going on here on the Real Estate Show. Now, on Fridays, we like to wrap up the week with a nice little bow. We kind of cover the high notes of what we talked about all week long. Some other stuff that I wanted to share with you that I couldn't fit in or couldn't finish during the week. You know, even though we're on 5 days a week, we can never cover everything that we want to talk about, which is why we also, in addition to our 5 shows, we also do a number of workshops. We're working our way up to get 5 workshops. Right now, I think we're at 3 or 4 workshops a week, depending on the particular week. This week, for example, on Monday, and before I forget, let me give you also our phone number. And the reason why I want to give you our smart phone number is because you can text, and I'm going to give you some keywords here for you to get some additional information. That's what we're all about here. This radio show is all about giving you all the information that you need to make a wise real estate choice. In fact, our mission here on the radio show is to empower and educate our listeners to own more of the American dream, which of course is real estate. It is the American dream. It's been since the beginning and the founding of this country. The American dream is for every American to become independent, own their own home, and live life and enjoy the freedom of the United States. And we are doing our own little part, selling the best part of the American dream, which is a little piece of America, one property owner at a time. And so our toll-free number is 561-861-2366. Once again, that's 561-861-2366. And all you have to do is send a text to that number, and depending on which word, for example, the word of the week is credit. So text the word credit. If you think you need to improve your credit, if you don't have credit and want to create credit, if credit has ever been the obstacle for you to get a loan, a car, an apartment, higher or lower insurance rates, even jobs are affected by credit. Your credit score is probably the most important single number that you have, maybe even more important than your Social Security number. You can have a Social Security number and not get any credit. In fact, the credit tied to that Social Security number may be what's actually preventing. So this entire week, we've been talking about all aspects of credit. Now, you know that each day of the week, we have a different focus. That is, on Monday, we start out with our Mondays on a mission. We talk about the idea of how our week is going to be set up in terms of an agenda, what our mission or our theme is for this particular week. Again, everything around the conversation of credit. And just to put in a little bit of the foundation, the reason that we're spending all this entire week talking about credit is because there are 3 fundamental factors that are always present when real estate is exchanged, right? And they're they're present, they may be relied upon more or less. And what am I talking about? In order for you to get approved for a loan to get a mortgage, you always have to show what your credit is. And if your credit is acceptable, you can get a loan. You also have to prove your repayment. In other words, income. How are you going to pay the loan? And you also have to put in some sort of a down payment. And those are the three factors. Now, you're telling me, Eric, I didn't have to put money down. Well, it's true. You put down zero down, and maybe it wasn't your money. Maybe it was somebody else's money, a loan, a gift, or something of that nature. But there was a down payment. In fact, the price, which is made up of a down payment, a deposit to buy the property, or no deposit and the full price. But believe me, whether you call it zero, there is a down payment. There is an investment in the property. Number two is the credit. And they're not in this order, by the way. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to reverse the order, but is the credit. So we talked about the week before last, by the way, we talked about the down payment and how I said that it doesn't matter. If you are coachable, if you're serious about wanting a piece of the American dream, then you want to call us or text us, visit us and message us on our website at Automatic Landlord. But the only reason you don't have a piece of the American dream is because you're not interested enough to do it. And that means you got to take some action. You might have to change some habits. You might have to fix a few things. But if you're willing and then coachable, and you can show me that you can pay the payment on a house, I'll show you, I'll get over the obstacle. I'll help you get over the obstacle of no down payment. I'll find the down payment for you one way or another. So there's the down payment, the investment, there is the credit, and then there is the income. And that's why these three things are always present in the decision to buy a property. Now, a private lender may be less concerned about any one of these. And in fact, if it's a family member, they may not be concerned about any of those things. But let me tell you that they're in their conscious mind, understanding that, hey, I'm going to buy this property for them. If they don't or can't pay for it, I'm going to step in and pay for it, as many parents do. Or as a relative will say, if I don't get paid, what's the worst that'll happen is that I'll end up stuck with a property that I had no intention of buying. But let me tell you, those three factors are always there. So that's why we chose, after we talked about the down payment last week, this week we're talking about the credit. And next week, little preview, we're going to be talking all week long about how to create enough income to qualify. Now, here's the thing, and if you've been at any time or a long time listener of the Real Estate Show, you'll know that we think very much out of the box. Often we live outside of the box because that's where the best deals and that's where everything really happens. And so sometimes the income may come from where you never expected it. It may come from your primary occupation if you're an employee. It may come from your primary occupation if you are self-employed. Maybe it comes from a second occupation. Your moonlight, you have a gig, you do a second job, you drive Uber on the side. It doesn't matter. But there are people, industrious and ambitious Americans all over the place that I talk to every single day that do these things because it matters that much to them that they want a piece of the American dream. In fact, a couple of weeks back, remember where I talked about the difference between the average net worth of a renter, somewhere around between $6,000 and $9,000 total. That's the average net worth of a renter, and then the average net worth of a homeowner is about $250,000. So look at the big difference. If that isn't enough. And especially after yesterday, and we'll come back to that, where I talked and taught you a way how if any graduate took my advice, and upon graduating, I don't care if it's high school or college, you don't need a degree for real estate. Remember I said yesterday that you don't even need to understand advanced math. You need arithmetic skills to be good in real estate. You need to understand addition, multiplication. Those are the different things, And if you've got that much, like I said, I'll take care of everything else. All I want is somebody who's coachable, cooperative, and who's got a little bit of a heart in the game to get the job done. And you're going to be part of one of my 100 first-time home buyers that we're putting into a home this year. So that kind of gives you the idea of what our Monday on a mission was, why we laid out that mission to be important for the rest of the week. And then we started talking about our Tuesday tools, tips, and techniques. We started talking about what was the makeup of a credit score. We talked about the primary area, believe it or not, the number one reason why people have a low credit score is payment history, right? That's really what it's mostly all about. 35% of your credit score is affected by your past history of payments on time. Now, if you never had any payments, you know, you paid everything for cash, you have zero credit history, which in the eyes of the bank is worse than bad credit. You know, banks have different tiers and they'll charge more interest, but if they know that you have a history, that you actually know how to make a monthly payment, they would rather deal with that than an unknown factor, even if all you've ever done is done everything paying cash, which is why many people, you've often heard them say that credit, because I can get a lot more credit and control more real estate, control a lot of things. I can do more with credit than I can with cash in many cases. Sometimes people won't even take cash, especially if it's over a certain amount. They don't want to deal with the possibility of fraud, counterfeit, money laundering, and all that other stuff. So it's kind of an interesting world that we live in. And the bottom line, you know, I'm not here to make the rules. I'm here to make the rules clear and show you that if you understand some of these guidelines, then there's a lot that we can do for you. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, hear a few words from our sponsor. We got a lot more for you as we kind of unravel what we talked about this week in the world of credit. But so far we've covered Monday and Tuesday. If you missed any one of these shows and you want to get a little bit deeper into those topics, then you can always listen to the replays. They're available both on our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. And also it's available on our website at automaticlandlord.com, where you can also send me a message. Anyway, we got a lot more for you still to go ahead here on The Real Estate Show, so don't touch that dial. My name is Eric Willner. I'm your host, and I'll be right back. Boom. How's everybody here? Erica, thank you for doing that for me. And got those digits going. The area code is not 551, it's 561. If you can correct that for me, please, I'll be eternally indebted. It's 561, not 551. 861-2366. The word of the week is, in fact, correctly spelled. It is credit. And Eliana Maria Spindola is watching from Brazil. How are you? Oi, mãe. We've also got here, let's say we got our folks here on our YouTube page going, and we got live there on Facebook. Good week today, good week. And let's see here, I want to try to get to one of the articles that we were talking about earlier. I got to arrange a lot of this stuff here. What a busy week. Do you know that we launched Brazil? We opened our first office. We opened our first region, our territory in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it's for real now. We are coming to Brazil. Who wants to go with me? As my friend Jordan would say. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us here on The Real Estate Show, we are South Florida's #1 program about real estate, now celebrating its 22nd year, which also makes us America's longest running daily radio show. 22 years strong, 22 years consecutively, 22 years through good times and through bad times, through recessions, even the Great Recession, and even a worldwide pandemic. The Real Estate Show has only grown over the years, expanding, starting from our humble little local AM station 22 years ago with my good friend and partner, Charles Simon, and growing ever since. And God rest his soul. I wish he saw what we've done with the Real Estate Show now. But the mission, as I stated early in the first half of the program here, is to educate and empower real estate owners and buyers, potential buyers, tenants, everybody out there, and educate them how to own a piece of the American dream. And we also gave out our SMART number. Our SMART number is 561-861-2366. And that's an important number, because as I give out the words, as you might see also on our Facebook page, the word credit. If you text the word credit, you can get some additional information. And if you like, you can even leave us a message so that we can get back to you about the concept of credit, what we can do to help you out in that regards. So on Mondays, we also have these workshops, and I started to tell you in the first half that we have our equity accelerator workshop on Monday night. And on Monday night, we talk about how to build equity, how to pay down the credit that you use in a much quicker and more efficient and effective way. And so it's a very interesting, a very detailed workshop. A lot of people learn a lot of things, and more importantly, we've helped people save hundreds, if not millions of dollars in saved credit. And I know that between myself and our team, it already has hit the millions. But personally, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars have been saved in interest just from the information that we have shared about our equity buildup. And so check us out. We'll be running it again next week, Monday night at 9 p.m. So if you're interested in attending that, type the word equity, 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 and text it to 561-861-2366. Tuesday night is our credit night, and that's where we do our credit accelerator workshop. We talk about credit, how to fix it, what are the big things to worry about. And so type the word credit to 561-861-2366. And on Wednesday, last week we had our book launch, and that was a lot of fun. So we have the book, which I'm a contributor to. We invited our listeners to attend. It was a really neat opportunity to network with the other authors and the other contributors to the book. Talk about my favorite quote, which is in the book, that everybody is in real estate. You're either in real estate or on real estate. Check out page 80 of the book for that quote and the explanation on that. In the interest of time, I want to get on with the rest of our summary for the week. But I also wanted to share that on Thursday nights, we've had our university series. And the university series has been a number of different workshops where we invite entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs. You're going to hear even more about this, our university series next week, as we talk about income for real estate. And this week we had a really interesting speaker. We were talking about how we, or they actually, are helping artists. If you're a musician, an artist, some sort of a performer, and how to monetize your art, your profession. Rather than be another starving artist, how about learning how to monetize that? Which, of course, we will say that is more additional income that you can use to buy real estate, which can then create more income. And if you follow my discussion, my conversation, in fact, on Thursday, which was all about how to create a retirement, $1 million retirement, regardless of what profession you chose, regardless of whether you ever made $1 million, whether you made a teacher's salary, a fireman, policeman, a scientist, a business person, it doesn't matter, because the concept absolutely worked. And I use this using numbers which represent a half to a third of what the real numbers are, because I was so over the top conservative. I was using a $100,000 property instead of today. The median home price here in South Florida is in the high 200s, almost 300,000. My county, it's over 300,000. So imagine that if we taught our kids this concept, they would all retire financially sound. Forget if being a millionaire when you retire is not the end game. It's having a fulfilling, passion driven career in the field of your choice, but knowing that in your golden years you're going to live a golden lifestyle as well. So anyway, that was conversation that it was actually Thursday, and I'll come back to that a little bit. But on Wednesday, which is our midweek report, every Wednesday we take a pause, we go to the marketplace and start talking about what is going on in the news in relationship to this week's theme, which was credit. So kind of interesting, we talked about a couple of articles. Number one was talking about how Americans are more in debt as a result of the pandemic than ever before. We're at record numbers in terms of debt. But here's the interesting thing that you might not have expected. Not so surprising that people's debt levels have risen, but the type of debt has actually gotten better. There are mortgages which grew tremendously. Why? Because there's more mortgages flowing into the marketplace. Lenders are doing a lot of lending to quality borrowers, so that solid loans that are out there, much more solid than, for example, what was being done leading up to the Great Recession back in 2008. One of the reasons why I tell you that don't expect a 2008 crash anytime soon. Now, the interesting thing is that credit scores also are higher than they were at the beginning of the pandemic, because people have taken, and then we talked a little bit about the fact that the stimulus apparently has had a very positive effect. The stimulus, 1/3 of the stimulus checks that most people got went to pay down debt. Good move, Americans. 1/3 of the stimulus check is now tracked as having gone into savings account. Good move, Americans. And then 1/3 they spend. Now, these are national averages, so I know you're probably saying, well, that's not what I did, but it is what the average person did, and it's evidenced in these numbers and in these articles that we saw. However, of the Americans that had mortgages, many, 72%, saw their credit scores dropping if they took advantage of the buy now, pay later payment. So people who kind of get lured into that, I'm going to call it a trap of buy now, pay later, 72% of the Americans' scores dropped. Why? Probably because, number one, their credit went up, the utilization rate. Refer back to our Tuesday show where we talked about what was the components of a credit score, the payment history, the percentage utilization, the age of the credit, the type of the credit, et cetera. And the other thing that we'll have seen that it wasn't supposed to happen, and yet we see it happen all the time, is that when the moratoriums went in place and people were allowed the forbearance, the payment vacation, as some people call it, that many people saw their credit scores adversely affected by that. Now, you can complain and you can get that removed, and you should if that's your case. And that's why I always said you want to know what your credit score is. Again, if you want to know what your credit score is and you want to know how to fix it, type in the word credit to 561-861-2366, and we'll give you the tips. And we have a tip sheet on how to improve your credit. The next thing that we saw is the fact that that's the music coming in already. Man, all of these shows, remember, they were all recorded and they are up on our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. In addition to that, you got one more chance to listen to the real estate show, because on Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m., we have our real estate show replay marathon, where at 9 o'clock p.m. on Sunday, wherever you're listening to us right now, you can listen to the real estate shows back to back from start to finish on Sunday night. Well, anyway, that's it for this week. A great week here. It was a credit week. Hopefully you got a lot of good information out there. Remember, you can always give us a call. The toll-free number to reach us is 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. Or send us a text at 861 or 561-861-2366. Message us on our website, Automatic Landlord, and that's enough ways to get in touch with us. Until tomorrow, when we come back here again, remember, drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great credit day. Bye-bye. You will. Thanks very much. Man, time goes by fast when you're having fun.